Foi. Fala, galera. Estamos ao vivo. E a cores, alguns comentários aí já. Mano Sax, de Portugal. José Lucas Freire. Lucas Williams. Roberto Filho chegando aí também com a gente.
Deixar um salve aí para todo mundo. Deixar um salve para todo mundo que tá chegando aí. Vamos lá, gurizada. Falta pouco processo. Temos que conseguir essa vitória aí hoje, importantíssima. Não pode deixar passar. Não pode ratear em casa aí, porque esse é aquela gordurinha que nós tínhamos, né? Aquele jogo a menos para voltar a abrir 4 pontos aí e deixar a vaguinha encaminhada.
É isso aí.
Aí, ó.
Temos já 53 pessoas aí online com a gente.
Carlos Dias, de Madrid.
Aí, de Madrid. O que mais temos aí, ó? TSXMTJ. Ricardo da Silva com a gente. Temos também torcedores internacionais.
Ó, fala um silencinho a musiquinha que tá tocando no estádio.
Aí, ó.
Sobe o som. Os bravos aí.
Declan Swans
aí, que em breve vai ter conteúdo deles aí na nossa comunidade do Wrexham Brasil aí.
Sim, entrevista exclusiva.
Pô, falar em entrevista exclusiva, né? Temos também aquela... Já não é mais novidade, né? Mas tu ainda não conferiu, vai lá conferir, deixar um like lá, porque é muito boa a entrevista com o... o nome dele?
Sean Winter.
Sean Winter. Então, cara, no canal do Wrexham Brasil aí, se tu ainda não viu, muito boa, traduzida, muito top. Aí, Thiago Monteiro falando lá de Recife. Átila Bastos, João Pessoa na Paraíba. Gauchada na área. Cristo falando os dois do Paul Mullen. Vamos lá, gurizada, vamos lá. Hoje não podemos deixar passar.
Olha o comentário aí, ó. Eu gosto desse. Inter e Juventude?
Parece, os uniformes parecem, né?
No Alfredo Giacone.
Não é muito boa ideia, porque o Inter geralmente não vai bem contra o Juventude, tá? Só pra falar. Então, não, melhor não.
Aí, ó, Átila Bastos, de João Pessoa. Tiago, de Recife, Pernambuco. Danilo, de Wellington, Nova Zelândia. Que isso? Fabian, Porto Alegre. O que mais temos aí, ó? André Ronaldo dos Santos, de Santo Ângelo, Rio Grande do Sul.
O Chada tá em peso.
Sidney Santos, de Sidney. Não, Sidney é de Aracaju, né? Sidney é o nome dele.
Vamos lá.
Avaré, São Paulo. Itabaiana, Sergipe. Osasco. É gente do mundo todo, do Brasil todo.
Que febre, né, cara?
Esperamos mais uma vitória hoje, hein?
Mas que febre, né, cara? Que força que tá a torcida do Wrexham Brasil aí. Que força que essa série espalhou por todo mundo praticamente aí. E, cara, fica a dica aí pro pessoal realmente conseguir pro ano que vem a transmissão da League 2 aí, porque o público tem, né? A prova tá aí.
Jamie Record made 48 appearances for Wrexham, most during Dean Keats' tenure as manager.
Palpite, Lucas. Não sei se tu já deu teu palpite aí.
Pô, para essa partida, meu palpite vai ser um singelo 3-0.
Apenas.
Só 3-0.
Eu vou de 4-0, tá? 4-0.
Olha, pelos dados que a gente tem, né? O pior ataque é o do Yeovil Town. A gente é o melhor mandante. Estamos jogando em casa. Tem tudo certo para dar errado, mas eu acho que vai dar certo.
Vai dar certo. Não, o cara ali tá de zoeiro. O cara tá dizendo que tá vendo da Coreia do Norte. Aí não, né?
Sempre aparece um assim.
Não, aí é loucura. Átila Bastos, palpite 3-0 também aí. Show de bola. Vamos pro jogo.
Bora. E aí, como de costume, a gente vai diminuir aqui as nossas cabeças. E é isso aí, Thiagão.
Boa. Deixar um abraço pro Lucas Luna aí, que não pôde estar conosco aqui na narração, mas membro ativo da comunidade também.
É isso aí. Nosso narrador oficial. Show de bola. Já fez a gente viralizar. Infelizmente não temos a narração hoje, mas temos o jogo. E é importante aí é ganhar hoje.
Boa. Dizem que tem Champions League hoje, Lucas. Tu sabe de alguma coisa?
Champions League? Que competição que é essa?
É um jogo menos importante do que o jogo do Wrexham, com certeza.
Nem sei do que você está falando. Tal de Chelsea? É isso aí que você está falando?
Chelsea? É um time menor do Reino Unido ali.
Ah, mas eu acho que a National League ofusca bastante, né?
Now here's Pollock in the middle of the park. Back to Freckleton again.
E Chelsea. Quantos Chelsea já tem da Vanarama?
Que eu saiba nenhum. Ó, o pessoal que falou que era o Juventude aí, ó, ele parece o Zago quando jogava no Juventude. Antônio Carlos Zago. Carequinha, zagueiro, capitão.
Try and nail them down early doors and see what comes from them then.
Yeovil will take, of course, confidence from the fact that they won here at the racecourse last season, the only team to do so, if you discount Grimsby's victory coming in extra time in the playoff semi-final at the end of the season. They were well worth the win that night, one where Wrexham lost Liam McAlinden through a red card. Here is Siziba early on there, Zimbabwean forward, trying to bring in Andrew Owulabori down the right-hand side, throw in front of the Yeovil supporters, who've made the very long journey up from Somerset on a Tuesday night. Tozer can get this one out, but a little bit of early encouragement here for Yeovil.
Galera, quem tá chegando aí, quem tá entrando agora, não se esqueça aí de se inscrever no canal. Deixa o like no vídeo, se inscreve no canal. É muito importante pra gente.
Bit of Premier League experience this season for Bevan with Bournemouth. Comfortable either at right back or one of three centre halves. Long clearance from Buse is beyond everyone, through to Ben Foster.
I think there's been quite a few long balls to start the game. It looks a little bit edgy, which is bound to happen. It's always the same for the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. Once it settles down and people work out the systems and what they're going to be doing, I think we'll get a better feel for the game.
Jones to Ryan Barnett, who's made this right wing back slot his own for Wrexham in the past few weeks, trying to get the better of Jamie Record, and Barnett takes a tumble. Free kick in a dangerous location here for Wrexham, and Barnett has stayed down. Did you see that one, Mark?
Oh, definitely. Put his arm across him and blocked him. I think Wrexham have been particularly dangerous from set pieces this season. And I know the goalkeeper, I think it's fine for me to say, but he's 5'11", so I would imagine we're going to throw it on his head.
Yeah, Will Buse with his second appearance for Yeovil, made his debut on Saturday. Yeovil born and bred, the Glovers keeper, on loan from Bristol City. And getting the nod ahead of Grant Smith tonight, who's on the bench. But early chance for Wrexham to test out the 21-year-old stopper. What can Lee bring from this set piece? Tozer and O'Connell, obvious targets. Lee's delivery, good claim from Buse, confident.
Absolutely, that'll settle his nerves a little bit. A nice easy one for him to come and claim under no pressure.
Throws the ball out early to try and see if he can get the Yeovil attack moving, but gets it back again. And here is Staunton, massively experienced. Also played for the likes of Halifax and Woking, but very much part of the furniture at Hewish Park. And now Freckleton, a much more recent arrival on loan from Sheffield United. Siziba dropping deep to pick up and linking play nicely. This is Charlie Cooper, son of the manager Mark, and now Worthington. Well, Yeovil have made a composed start, Mark.
Yeah, I do like the way the Wrexham are pressing a little bit, though. They are certainly coming out of the blocks and not letting Yeovil rest on it too much.
Staunton again with time on the ball. O'Connor trying to shepherd this back to Foster, who's off his line quickly under pressure from Rio Griffiths, yet to open his account for Yeovil. Formerly prolific for the Tottenham Academy, but not getting a look in there, Griffiths. As Foster claims. Ben Foster, Mark, a man you know very well from way back when.
Absolutely, yeah. When he first came to the club, I had the pleasure of working with him for the first 9 months. There was him and Andy Dibble. Dibbs was injured. Ben came in, and the rest is history.
It's that 2005 photo of the LDV Vans winners. Features Mark Morris, my co-commentator, lurking behind Ben Foster in that joyous picture at full time. And Mark now a coach at Liverpool, looking after the under-21s and the development of the young keepers there in Jurgen Klopp's academy and up-and-coming crop. Here's Tozer. Good ball forward to Lee. Bit of space for Elliot Lee for the first time, looking to thread it through to Dolby. Not quite on the same wavelength, and that's comfortable for Buse.
Both the strikers made the same run, I'm afraid, if the other striker peeled off. If Dolby peeled off the other way, he was in.
Mark, as a coach, what would you be saying if you were Mark Cooper tonight? You've got a Yeovil side who've won once in 17. You're coming to a team who've got 20 wins and 1 draw at home in the league. You've got to get 9 points from your last 3 games, and even then it probably won't be enough to stay up. How would you motivate a team in that situation?
They've got nothing to lose. I'd certainly be saying, the first 10, 15 minutes of any game is important. You can't concede. The longer you stay in the game, the more chance you've got of getting the results. But certainly don't panic. As I said earlier on, there's 90 minutes to play for here. Really important you don't concede early, which they haven't done so far.
O'Connell tidying up at the back for Wrexham. Owen O'Connell has made that right centre-back place very much his own since his arrival in the midwinter. Still no return for Aaron Hayden or Jordan Tunnicliffe. Both close. Could yet be in contention for Saturday. But at the moment, Tom O'Connor filling in on that left-hand side. Here is Jones. Mullin is onside here. First chance for Paul Mullin to open up the Yeovil defence, perhaps. Mullin's ball across. It's going to come loose. Chance for Anthony Ford coming in. Ford's shot was blocked. It was good cover. But Anthony Ford just having a sight at goal. They're getting it on his favoured right foot. First chance that Wrexham have really had a sniff.
Proper defending. That's how they've got to defend all night, Yeovil. Putting the bodies on the line. It was a free shot on the edge of the box. And to be fair, the defender, he closed in quick and blocked through his body and put it on the line.
Yeah. Ford just trying to get it onto his right foot. But Yeovil over in numbers. Good commitment. But it is going to be another Wrexham free kick. Elliot Lee, chance to whip it in on his right, on his instep. O'Connell again forward. Goes beyond Staunton. It's going to be tidied up by Tozer. Flag up for offside. And it'll be a Yeovil free kick. Wrexham just not quite clicking into gear so far, Mark.
Not quite. I just feel that the pressure is starting to tell a little bit now. They're just starting to get a bit more possession. They're getting in dangerous areas. As I said, they've had the first chance really of the game. So I just feel as though they're just starting to get a foothold in it.
Well, the pitch in excellent condition. Paul Challoner and his team of ground staff really do keep the racecourse ground like a carpet through all weathers, and perfect conditions for both teams tonight. Very little wind. Here's Siziba, and Foster hesitates. Now retreats. Siziba to Griffiths. A wall of red in front of him, and in the end, Andy Callan has to get a foot in, and Yeovil force a corner.
Yep, first little bit of proper pressure from Yeovil. Let's see what they can produce from the set piece. I mean, both teams really this is probably a real good chance for them. In open play, it's going to be a bit more difficult, but certainly from set pieces, they fancy the chances.
Charlie Cooper standing over it. Former Forest Green Rovers man who enjoyed promotion from the National League when at the Lawn. Certainly one of the more experienced players in this Yeovil side. Good opportunity here for them to test Ben Foster. Whipped into the near post, and last touch was from Anthony Ford coming across to cover Miguel Freckleton. Another Yeovil corner.
Good movement there from the Yeovil guys.
Yeovil committing plenty of green shirts into the penalty box. A number of players gathering close to the penalty spot. Cooper's delivery again. Not convincingly dealt with by the Wrexham backline, and in the end, Ben Foster falls on it. Freckleton it was. Once more getting forward from the back. Might have thought he could have done better there.
It looks like they're just trying to leave a big space at the near post. They dragged everybody off far, and there was a huge hole at the near post, which is where the ball was delivered to.
Miguel Freckleton may feel he perhaps should have connected better with that, and Wrexham not looking totally convincing against that set piece. Mullin looking to chase that down. It was Freckleton again who this time did his defensive duty. Here's Ford, good left foot delivery. It's come out to Cannon, trying to weave it back to Anthony Ford. Again, Ford on his left foot, and now he's right. Dolby arriving. And Freckleton once there. He's been heavily involved so far, the Sheffield United loanee, and once more Yeovil snuff out the threat.
Dolby making the run near post again, both balls aimed at him.
Wrexham crowd as ever in good voice. You can feel the anticipation in the town, both online and in person. Everybody knowing 2 wins take Wrexham back to the promised land of the Football League. 2 home games to just try and do what they've done 20 times out of 21 so far this season. When you get near to the finishing line, emotions and psychology can all change. And you see how close you are. Here's Barnett getting himself out of a bit of trouble and finding O'Connell, who plays a nice ball to James Jones. And now Wrexham have got a little bit of space. Dolby comes short, drops in. Barnett threads it back to Jones. Now Tom O'Connor can join the attack from centre half. Ford overlapping wide left. Bit of room for the Irishman. And he's hustled out of it. Good challenge coming in from Andrew Owulabori. Anthony Ford not getting any change out of the Peterborough loanee on that side. Wrexham can have another go with Ryan Barnett. Cannon. James Jones, who's really established himself in this midfield in the second half of this season. And Dolby gets away from Freckleton, just gets a yard. Sam Dolby lays it to Mullin. Andy Cannon to drive it! Well, he's yet to open his account for Wrexham, Andy Cannon. It looked just for a nanosecond there like the net might be bulging. But Will Booz delighted to watch that disappear past his post.
Nice build-up, really patience on the ball, some good movement, some good passing. What Wrexham are doing now as well is they're picking up a lot of second balls. So they're winning the first header, picking up the second balls, and that will create pressure.
There's a decent connection from Cannon. I think Booz would have been beaten if that had been a yard or so inside the upright. Not by much, was it?
No.
Look at that on the replay. Notice served by Wrexham, but the goal still will not come. At least not thus far, as Dolby flicks on. Mullin looking to try and cause himself a nuisance. And Sam Booz can get it clear for the visitors. Cannon. Strong challenge from Record. Does really well, the Yeovil left back, as Siziba looks to continue the momentum, and he wins the throw.
Yeah, first time again that the Yeovil have got a little bit of play again. You can sense that just even within the crowd that there's a bit of apprehension, but I think Wrexham are slowly, there we go again, they're just slowly picking up these second balls, find a little bit of space.
Elliot Lee's ball inside is cut out by Pollock. Former Northampton man surging forward. I think he was probably tripped there from Andy Cannon and probably unlucky not to get a free kick, but referee Michael Barlow not interested. Forward by O'Connell to Mullin, nicely chested. And on the overlap is Anthony Ford, and Ford galloping forward into space. Not much support for him, and that's an excellent challenge. Really good challenge from Owen Bevan. The fans around that incident thinking perhaps Ford was fouled, but for me, Mark, that was a very strong tackle.
Yeah, listen, either way, he wasn't going past him. He made sure, he blocked the tackle, but followed through everything. He was always going to take the ball and play it. So, yeah, fair tackle.
Andy Cannon's shot again from a few moments ago. He's made quite a big impact, Andy Cannon, since his arrival from Hull City in December. Man who enjoyed promotion last year with Stockport County. Hoping to make it 2 consecutive National League exits. Wrexham so near, but as it stands, so far, work still remains to be done. Notts County's last 2 matches, of course, away to already relegated Maidstone United and at home to struggling York City. You fancy them to pick up 6 points there. So Wrexham unlikely to get favours, but they do know 2 wins tonight and on Saturday, and promotion is theirs, whatever Notts County do. Now, here goes James Jones, space to Rome. Touched inside to Barnett, asked too much of Ryan Barnett. It was read by Charlie Cooper, and he can win possession back for Yeovil.
1 or 2 scruffy passes from Wrexham. The square passes in midfield. The Yeovil boys are jumping on them. They're certainly committing bodies forward. I mean, Wrexham broke then. They had, I think it was 3 against 3 at one point.
Phil Parkinson giving instruction from the touchline. It's expected that he'll also be there again on Saturday against Boreham Wood. Unlikely to have his hearing then. Now then, here is Mullin getting a few more touches as this half develops. Barnett to Jones. Cannon to Lee. Ford trying to stay on side wide left. Here he is. That's a fellow Irishman, Tom O'Connor. Cannon and Lee looking to try and run the channel, and very nearly Andy Cannon threaded the needle through, but not quite. Yeovil's defence once again holding strong. And here is the hard-working Worthington. Forced back by James Jones.
When Wrexham get the possession there and they build up nice and slowly with proper passing, they can get a few more bodies forward. It's just that final pass that just isn't quite coming off yet.
Forward by Owen Bevan. That's beyond everybody. And out for a goal kick. The Wrexham floodlights shining down tonight. They'll probably get one last use on Saturday against Boreham Wood, you'd think, and that will be it. Since 1959, the massive floodlights have formed a major part of the Wrexham skyline, but after 64 years, they're heading for retirement. New floodlights to be built imminently as part of the ground's continuing overhaul to be ready for international football once again. And those floodlights will be down in the coming weeks and months. Here's Barnett to Cannon. Lee, a little bit loose, short to Barnett, and put Barnett in some trouble, and now Yeovil can break. It goes Oluwabori. Enterprising run from the right wing back, and he's still going. Couldn't pick out Griffiths or Siziba, but Yeovil trying to come forward with a little bit of intent when they do get the chance. Bevan. Inside to Pollock. Now Freckleton, who's had mixed experiences since his arrival on loan from Sheffield United. Almost featured in the cup tie against Wrexham earlier this season, but an issue with some paperwork meant he didn't get his opportunity then. He's getting his time now to pit himself against Paul Mullin and company.
Good press again from Wrexham just to nick the ball on the halfway line, but shame it just rolled out for a throw in. I think if they keep jumping like that and then they'll nick one, they'll outnumber the Yeovil guys. Definitely going forward.
Throw into the Glovers as we move towards the 20-minute mark, and I'm sure Mark Cooper will be pretty happy. Will Hughes hasn't really been extended so far. Wrexham have had one Shot from Andy Cannon just wide. That's the closest they've come. Here goes Worthington for Yeovil, looking to bring in Ziziba. A bit telegraphed and read by Owen O'Connell. Now then, Mullin trying to drop his shoulder and get away from Bevan, backing himself against the Bournemouth loanee. Was that pushing the back on Bevan?
Got away with it. If it was, he got away with it. That's what you get from Mullin, though, isn't it? He's so tenacious. He never gives the centre-halves a minute. He'd be an absolute nightmare to play against. The centre-halves like to get the head up and pick a pass, and all of a sudden he's around your ankles. He just doesn't give you a second to pick a pass.
44 goals, Mark, for Paul Mullin this season. I mean, him and Macaulay Langstaff have rewritten records, really, in this league, haven't they? I mean, you don't tend to get many clubs who would have a 30-goal-a-season striker, and clubs will often aspire to a 20-goal-a-season striker. So for Mullin to score 44, quite incredible, really. He's actually scored 9 more than Yeovil have scored across the team in the league.
It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And to be honest with you, having watched quite a bit of him this season, it's what he deserves. His work ethic is phenomenal. You'll get the striker who'll just, finish the chance off. He works so hard for everybody else. As I said earlier, he doesn't give the centre-halves a second. He back tackles, he puts them under pressure. And how many goals he's nicked from nicking the ball off a centre-half or forcing them to make a mistake? I'd like to know that stat.
And I think, Mark, that's what makes him quite unusual, isn't it, amongst the really prolific strikers? Because often strikers who score in his volume tend to be the poachers, the guys that are in the right place, right time. To get one who has worked so hard as Mullin is really unusual at any level.
Well, managers don't want them to run around. They want them to stick the ball in the back of the net. So that basically they're told to stay between the 18-yard lines, that tram line of the 18-yard width. So Mullin, he's an exception without a shadow of a doubt.
I can tell you there have been no goals anywhere else around the National League so far this evening. From a Wrexham point of view, no game involving Notts County. This is Wrexham's game in hand. From a Yeovil perspective, Wealdstone are playing Aldershot. Aldershot are Yeovil's best hope, looking at the league table, of dragging them under. And goalless at Grosvenor Vale at the moment. Just a reminder of the scenario for Wrexham. A win today, as we've said, and a further win on Saturday guarantees the title. If Wrexham draw this game tonight against Yeovil, that will give them a 2-point lead. Now, Notts County then play first on Saturday. Their game against Maidstone's at 3 o'clock. So if that match is then drawn or lost by Notts County, then Wrexham could still win the title at 6:30 here at the racecourse with a win. So Wrexham don't have to win tonight to have a chance of winning the title on Saturday, but clearly it makes things a heck of a lot simpler if they do win tonight, because then there is no doubt that a win on Saturday guarantees the title. And a favour from Maidstone, relegated and tailed off bottom, probably unlikely. Here's Tozer's throw in. Staunton with the header out, back in by Cannon. Hacked clear by the busy Awulabori.
And I want to keep that in because they're a man down at the moment, so try and keep possession with them a man down.
Yeah, 3 centre-backs. Charlie Cooper just dropping in at centre-back to add to the Yeovil reinforcements, whilst they are down to 10 men. Out by Staunton. O'Connell with the challenge. And Wrexham will benefit from a free kick.
Shame they were trying to go early then. I think the referee wants to get the extra player on.
Looks like it's going to be a permanent change for Yeovil, and that is a loss because Owen Bevan had impressed in the early stages of this game, but he'll take no farther part in it. And Malachi Linton will come on. Now, that is a striker for a central defender, so that looks like Charlie Cooper's going to drop in at centre-back, as he already has done, centre of 3 alongside Staunton and Freckleton. And Malachi Linton looks like he's going to come across to left midfield. So a rejig for Yeovil. That'll be a frustration for Mark Cooper on his side. Have started this game well. They had a series of rejigs at Solihull on Saturday and forced into a change again already tonight. Tozer's angled ball. Anthony Ford doing well.
Late call on
offside. How do you think that will affect Yeovil, Mark? Because they'd looked settled so far. Bevan had looked very comfortable at right centre-back, but straight away a change in personnel and a change in who's going to be where.
I think the trick is that you move the least amount of people possible. So when you do have to reshuffle a pack like that, You know, if you're only moving one, maybe two people, then it's not so much of a problem. So when you start shuffling 3 or 4, the problem starts to arise.
Not quite kept in play by Elliot Lee, and that will be a throw in to Yeovil. Wrexham bench tonight. Liam McAlinden, Luke Young, Ollie Palmer and Max Cleworth, the outfield substitutes. So no Jordan Davis, no Billy Waters on that bench, but Palmer to certainly add to the forward line. He and Dolby have generally been alternating between 60 minutes and 30 minutes or thereabouts. It goes Barnett. Good pace from Ryan Barnett, but in steps Jamie Record. And Yeovil eventually get enough numbers back to stop Ryan Barnett's progress. Here's Staunton stepping forward. Griffiths fighting hard for the ball in the middle of the park, but infringing, and Lee takes the free kick quickly. Now there's a chance for Mullin to cut inside. Here goes Paul Mullin. In the end, by his standards, it's a weak shot and comfortable for Buse.
Didn't catch it right at all, opened up the space, drove inside really, really well. Just didn't quite catch the strike properly. There you go again, he puts the keeper straight under pressure.
He'll be frustrated, I'm sure, Paul Mullin, with that finish. A bit below his normal standards after he got himself away. Sure it won't be his last chance of the night. Here goes Awolabori. Here's Worthington. Chance for a shot. Worthington shoots and Foster had to be alert. And Yeovil working it nicely once more. Andrew Awolabori involved in some of their best play, and Matt Worthington shot smothered by Ben Foster. A warning sign for Wrexham. Yeovil have not just come here to make up the numbers.
Good positional play from Ben. And then obviously he picks up the second ball. But as you say, the man just drifted around the outside. And before you know it, he's through on goal.
O'Connor. Back to Ben Tozer. Time again for Tom O'Connor to thread it through, and Elliot Lee's worked himself a pocket of space. It's Elliot Lee with Dolby inside him. Drilled across from Lee. It'll be a corner. And that's Elliot Lee doing Elliot Lee kind of things. Making space in that little channel and creating an opportunity. And Yeovil concede the corner.
Just starting to get down both flanks now, Wrexham. Just starting to get in a little bit, driving down the wings and getting the ball through the middle. So hopefully, you know, they're just finding a bit of space out there.
Elliot Lee will take this corner for the home side. Hughes elects to let that go, and it's beyond everyone, harmlessly out for a goal kick.
Yeah, overhit. You need probably someone coming in around the back there, or the man pulling off the keeper. Just it's amazing how many balls end up drifting over the back there.
Wrexham owner Rob McElhenney here, celebrating his birthday. Hoping he'll be celebrating a little bit more than that on Saturday. But to get to that point, Wrexham have got to find at least one way past Will Buse tonight. And thus far, they've not managed to unlock the door.
Ben's been the only one who's had to make a save so far.
Comfortable save from Worthington, did you think, Mark?
Yeah, it's all about the positioning. He's put pressure on him because he's not too deep in his goal, and his angles are very, very good, as you'd expect.
Cannon to Tom O'Connor, man from Kilkenny. Back to Foster. Nice ball to Tozer. Wrexham with the chance to try and build time, but Tozer's pass isn't good enough. Pollock does well, and he's checked by Cannon there. Referee plays a good advantage. Awolabori looking to work it across. Tozer cuts it out and then brings in Elliot Lee, who sees a gap for Anthony Ford, but Charlie Cooper can snuff out that potential break. It'll be a Wrexham throw.
Those nervous last passes again, the crucial ones that are going to get you through, get you out. To be fair, they're having the moment, Yeovil. Some patient build-up play. They seem to be getting down that right-hand side.
Approaching the half-hour mark then, here at the racecourse ground. Yeovil with just one away win all season. That was against Dagenham and Redbridge some time ago, as we had a chance to have a look at the Paul Mullin shot again, which in the end was no real danger to Will Buse. Elliot Lee to O'Connell. Ryan Barnett. Once again, Yeovil getting everyone behind the ball.
Not a lot of space there to play with.
O'Connell again. Bit of room now for Tom O'Connor.
You've probably got to work the ball a little bit quicker, Wrexham. Try and shift the block, as you said earlier, they're dropping in. They're putting the 11 men behind the ball, so Wrexham have really got to try and move that block. Eventually, if they move it quickly enough, somebody won't do the job. The spaces will open up.
Here's Malachi Linton getting the ball back to Views. Linton, the scorer of an excellent goal for Yeovil when these two teams met what seems like an aeon ago back in August, a 1-1 draw at Hewish Park, as Worthington brings in Oluwabori. His cross is cut out by Tozer, but again, Yeovil offering a threat when they counter. Here's Cooper, Worthington, Oluwabori. Looking for Pollock, but can't get it past Tom O'Connor. Cooper once more can bring in Record, and for a side that have struggled so much in recent weeks, Yeovil playing with a real composure for the first 31 minutes tonight. Pretty even stuff. Worthington. Siziba to Griffiths. Griffiths to Oluwabori. Anthony Ford needing to watch his ankles. Here goes the cross. Siziba sees it disappear behind him. Again, the final ball just not quite there for the Glovers. Record out-muscles Mullin. Back with Ryan Barnett. Again, if you were Phil Parkinson, Mark Morris, would you be worried at Yeovil's attacking threat and the opportunities that they are starting to weave in the final third?
Not yet. I'd like the sort of left-hand side of Wrexham's defence to tighten up a little bit, because most of Yeovil's stuff is coming down that side. But certainly, I certainly wouldn't be pressing the panic button just yet.
O'Connell to Tozer. Barnett into the feet of Dolby. You get the impression if Wrexham can break through, it will just change the whole dynamic of the game that's playing out. But at the moment, Yeovil giving as good as they're getting. Chances at a premium. Here's Elliot Lee, a man who can normally fashion something where others can't, but not on that occasion. Yeovil throw.
I think they just need to keep switching the play, so that they're dragging everybody over to one side, and then there's a huge space in the middle of the park. So to get the heads up and just try and bring the ball back over to this side, or switch the play. There's a bit more room. There's not as much congestion.
Thrown from Freckleton, who's switched across to the right-hand side of the centre of the three-man Yeovil defence. Record dropping in alongside Staunton now as the third centre-back, and Linton doing the job at left wing-back that Record was doing earlier. So still three centre-halves for Mark Cooper. Experienced manager, of course, Cooper, from Forest Green Rovers and Swindon, amongst others. It was quite a outspoken interview, the Yeovil manager, after the 2-2 draw against Solihull on Saturday, saying it's the first relegation I've ever experienced in my career. He'd obviously written things off after Saturday, maybe before, and adding that he should have probably left weeks ago, but felt an obligation to the players to stick around. Well, certainly thus far, he's had a response this evening from these players. Wrexham having to chisel away hard here. Lee's delivery out by Cooper.
Quality needs to improve in the set pieces. Absolutely needs to improve. But I missed that first man out.
Up towards Dolby. His flick on. He's going to have to chase his own header, Sam Dolby, and Jamie Record can volley that away. Linton. Spinning ball deceiving him a little bit, and Dolby can get involved again. The line by Record. Yeah, the set piece today has not been good, Mark, has it? Really, I can't think of a good free kick or corner that Wrexham have delivered yet.
It's either been too short or too long. It's we need to find. Well, they need to find somewhere in between.
Crowd trying to get behind Ben Foster. The nerves just starting to be apparent around the racecourse. Cooper to Worthington. Oluwabori. Doing well up that right touchline, Andrew Wallabori. He certainly had a very strong opening 35 minutes or so. Tom O'Connor rather, getting it clear.
Chance.
Here's Cannon. Now then, Jones. Wrexham have suddenly got a few men forward and a bit of space. Barnett. Chance to run at Malachi Linton. Can Ryan Barnett fashion a good cross? Good cover from Linton, doing his defensive duty. And Ryan Barnett's attempted cross snuffed out. It will, though, be a long throw and a chance for Bentosa.
It's definitely where they're going to get the success, I think, with the wide areas and the sort of wing backs driving on.
Right then, a Bentosa throw, often such a source of success for Wrexham. Can it yield some here? Towards Tom O'Connor, strong header out from Staunton. He saw that one coming nice and early and got it clear. Tozer now to Jones, and Worthington got in with Dolby lurking and got it away. Cushioned header from Barnett finds Elliot Lee. Lee with a bit of room in front of him. Cannon makes a nice run. Here he is. Lee again. Buse coming for it and makes a comfortable claim.
Nice bit of pressure. The throw in, there wasn't one Wrexham player that attacked the ball. So, you know, that needs to be addressed. It's a little bit of pressure building there. Just got to maintain that now.
Well, for as long as this game remains a stalemate, the more the nerves will start to jangle around the racecourse. Jamie Record just getting back to his feet.
They won't want Wrexham to get into a rhythm at all. Yeovil, they'll try and break it up as much as they possibly can.
Well, Phil Parkinson saying in his programme notes tonight about how Wrexham have often reset well during a game. When a game's not been going their way, they've turned it round, and that's often meant late goals, particularly in the last quarter of an hour. And the way this is shaping up at the moment, it might need that kind of extra push in the latter stages to break some stubborn Yeovil resistance, certainly so far. Wrexham struggling to really test Will Buse.
I think Yeovil are working hard. It's how long they can sustain that work rate for.
Yeah, that will become an issue, Mark, won't it, potentially, in terms of the defensive effort, the covering of space, and whether or not Wrexham eventually will start to wear down Yeovil from a fitness perspective, particularly if they have some dominance of territory and possession early in the second half.
Seems to be masters at scoring the late goal, Wrexham, and that's for the constant pressure, the throw-ins, the set pieces. You know, it takes its toll. It wears you out.
Here's Staunton. Time on the ball for the Yeovil skipper. And now Yeovil get caught in possession. Now Wrexham might have half a chance to break if Dolby can move this on quickly to take a step back. Wrexham still have it though, and it's Ford. Back to Tom O'Connor. And now Tozer. Just wonder, as the game goes on, Mark, whether Phil Parkinson will be tempted to try and switch Tom O'Connor into midfield if there is still no breakthrough, because his creative play may come in handy there. Max Cleworth could come in, step in for O'Connor at centre-back, and that might release O'Connor to have more of an influence. Come back to that just a second, as Lee has a chance. Elliot Lee, well blocked. Jones picks up the loose ball, and again, a sea of green and white in front of the red shirts as they try and unpick the back line.
You probably need a little bit of creativity in there to sort of find the spaces. And I'm watching it now, and there are quite a few line-breaking runs from the Wrexham midfielders. And certainly Mullin is making a lot of runs in behind, and Wrexham aren't just quite seeing it.
Foster's ball forward, looking for the run of Mullin. Jones battles for it. Cooper felt he was fouled. No interest from Michael Barlow. Jones's ball on the overlap to Ford. He just couldn't quite trap it. Can he try and win a throw? Yes, he can, which that close to a corner is as good as a corner when you've got Bentosa coming forward.
Again, it's another set piece, isn't it? This is mentally draining as well when these just keep draining in on your head. This is another way of sort of grinding them down.
Tozer with his trademark towel. A good time for Wrexham to score this, 5 minutes before the break. towards Dolby. It was O'Connor's header, but it was soft and it was comfortably over the bar.
Free header, 7 yards out, nobody challenging him. Actually, it's a better clearance than a header at goal.
Yeah, I think he'd be disappointed with that, Tom O'Connor. He has been a decent goal-scoring option for Wrexham this season, 7 to his name. But that never looked close.
No, got completely underneath it. Never really attacked the ball. He waited for the ball to come to him.
Was it just, as we look at the replay to that marker, a lack of pace on it? Because the Bentosa howitzer throw tends to be arrowed in, doesn't it? That was a bit more floaty, and the pace that it was coming at, was it difficult for O'Connor to get enough leverage to get it on target?
I just don't think he took off. He sort of attacked the ball, and then as he's gone to head the ball, he's dipped his knees. So he's actually coming underneath the ball.
Tosa's header forward to Dolby, who's worked hard to try and link play in this first half without necessarily creating a clear chance. Forward by Pollock, but Wrexham have space here now for James Jones to exploit because Barnett's skipping outside him if he wants to use him. Jones goes to O'Connell, to Jones again. O'Connell continues his run from centre-back. Cannon sees the run of Lee, but ignores that and goes to Ford instead. Again, Yeovil defence drifting across well to act like a blanket in front of the best efforts of the Wrexham midfield to try and create some space. Here's Jones, and that's well read by Record. Linton. A bit of time for Staunton to hammer it away.
Relieve the pressure a little bit. There's nobody up there for Yeovil. They're packing the sort of final third of their defending half with bodies, making it very, very difficult for Wrexham to break it down. But then again, Wrexham's final ball hasn't been good enough.
Here's Lee trying to get away from his man and wins a free kick for his trouble.
Completely wiped him out over there.
I don't think there can be too many complaints from Charlie Cooper on that occasion. And he's going to go into the book, the Yeovil midfielder. First booking of the night for the manager's son, Charlie Cooper.
There's hardly been a tackle, has there?
No, none that I can remember as thinking it had a real element of crunch to it, but probably a soft place to give away a yellow card, wasn't it? Lee was very wide out and not really causing a huge threat, but Cooper's going to have to watch himself for the remainder. Now, Tom O'Connor. Plenty of space for him. Looping ball. Not sure if that was aimed at Barnett or Jones, but Yeovil have to deal with it and deal with it well. Here's Worthington. A couple of minutes plus what won't be too much injury time, I wouldn't have thought, at the end of this first half. Max of a couple of minutes. Cooper. Great tackle chasing back from James Jones and penalised for it. And I think probably fairly harshly.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Probably the reason the referee's given it was there was a slight follow through with his planted foot. He almost caught him sort of late with the scissor action. Yeah,
that was not a good look, was it? As the tackle was completed, it was, as you say, Mark, in the very end of the biomechanical motion probably didn't help Jones's case there, but Yeovil have the chance to do something with it. Again, Wrexham succeed in defending in numbers. Ford has done well thus far at left wing back, and that's a nice layoff to Andy Cannon from Sam Dolby. Can Cannon return the favour? Dolby was skipping forward in a bit of space then, but Cannon's got to go the long way round. He does well. He draws the foul from Freckleton, and that will give Wrexham another free kick. And they're just starting to draw more and more fouls from the Yeovil team, and that's going to be the second booking in the space of a minute.
Yeovil are just clearing the ball now, and it just keeps coming back and back and back. That was certainly a desperation from the full-back there. They had to drag him down. He was away with space in front of him. So when Yeovil are actually getting the ball now, they're just clearing it over Wrexham's back three. Wrexham pick the ball up and they go again. It's almost like forwards against defence.
Which wasn't happening in the first 20, was it? I mean, Yeovil were competitive, and Griffiths and Siziba were giving them an outlet. Oluwabori was as well. But now, as you say, it's a bit sort of cup tie style, smaller team hanging on type of mentality of get it anywhere, get rid of it. Now, maybe it's just to try and get themselves to half time, but you feel you couldn't play like that for the rest of the game.
I can see cracks in it now, to be honest with you. Maintaining that is very, very difficult.
Free kick to Wrexham then. Yeovil thus far proving sturdy opposition here for the Red Dragons, who are yet to really test Will Booze. Here is the delivery from Lee. out as far as and cleared in the end by Freckleton. Jamie Jones playing it back in from the edge of the penalty area, and Mullin was lurking. Wrexham looking a little bit more dangerous on that occasion and forced the corner.
I thought Yeovil, after the initial clearance, were very, very slow getting out. Because I actually thought it looked like Dolby was in an offside position, but I think Yeovil were really slow getting out.
Corner in from Lee. Half cleared and eventually hacked away. And Yeovil living slightly dangerously in the last couple of minutes, but survive again.
It's the ball given away again. Yeah, you just feel that pressure's coming.
And 4 additional minutes, so I was well out with my assessment of a couple. Here's Mullin. Can Wrexham find a way through in these additional minutes? Yeovil have done really well in this first half to heavily restrict Wrexham's opportunities. Pollock goes down under the challenge, and it will be a Yeovil Town free kick.
Cheap one. You want to keep the rhythm going, you want to maintain the pressure, it's a cheap one. It's clever from the Yeovil guy, he's just felt a bit of pressure from behind and gone down.
Yeovil will just want to see this out now. They've survived the first of 4 added minutes. They've done such a solid job for manager Mark Cooper in this first half. Yes, they've got to win this game, of course, to have any chance of survival, but for as long as they can stay in it, you might think they could nick a goal right at the end to burgle the win. At the moment, their team have done those travelling supporters from Somerset proud in the opening 46 minutes. Wrexham with some thinking to do in the dressing room at half-time. What are they going to change in the second half to increase their penetration? Here goes Tom O'Connor stepping in, and that's a nice little ball forward looking for Anthony Ford, and once more solid defence from Freckleton. Cannon couldn't get there to challenge, and Cooper can play it up, and the chance for Rio Griffiths to power his way forward. Great strength from the Yeovil centre forward. For a moment there, he might have been able to force his way through, but in the end, enough red shirts getting to him.
He looks a dangerous player when he picks the ball up, to be fair. He's direct. The problem with Yeovil is they're not getting any support up front because they've got that many bodies behind.
Here goes Elliot Lee. Chance for Lee to have a run at Staunton. Elliot Lee brings in Mullin, who gets it all wrong.
Yeah, he lifted his head so early before he struck the ball there. It was
Até você, pô, mano.
You call a golf shot, his head was up so early.
I don't tend to see that too often from Paul Mullin. Elliot Lee, as he got away here, was in acres of space. Sam Dolby making a run to the right, but it was Mullin who Lee saw. But as you were saying, Mark, the miscue from Mullin, like a miss-hit 9-iron.
He never really set himself. It didn't really.
It's not good, guys.
It's unusual for Mullin.
This team is also making me anxious.
Last minute of the first half, then, here at the
Que
racecourse
isso, galera.
ground. Wrexham 0.
Primeiro tempo bem ruim, hein?
Mark Morris, former Wrexham goalkeeper, and myself, Chris Malaband, with you this evening on National League TV. A match that both teams have to win for very different reasons. A draw is no good to either. The win is so sacrosanct tonight. Nothing between them so far after a keenly contested opening 45 minutes as James Jones wins a free kick right at the end of it.
Parece mesmo que o time tá muito nervoso. Cara, 2 jogos só pra subir.
Tom O'Connor's ball down the line.
O nervosismo parece que tomou conta do time.
Sam Dolby's willing running. I think that'll probably be.
Já tô agradecendo por não ter colocado nenhuma aposta nesse jogo, porque o meu palpite 3-0 provavelmente não vai acontecer.
Just starting to build up ahead of steam. Yeovil, every time they clear it, it's coming back at them because Yeovil have got that many bodies behind the ball, but there's nothing up there. There's no support.
Bom, nesse fim de primeiro tempo aí, vou interagir com a galera, alguns comentários aí, ó. Tawan Lacerda achou o chute do Paul Mullin, parou lá em Alagoas. Então, para quem estava pensando aí onde que a bola parou, Tawan Lacerda acabou de achar a bola lá. Pô, 0,5 tá bom, né? 0,5 tá bom. Eric Maldonado aí falou que vai ser 1-0 no pouco. Pô.
Edgy first 10 minutes.
Estava esperando mais.
Probably had the better of the first 20 minutes. They certainly had the better chance.
Quem mais? Galera, vai mandando aí nos comentários. Intervalo, então vamos interagir aí. Jogo muito físico. Um comentário do Ricardo Silva. Se o Mano se finalizar mais 2 vezes assim, o Corinthians vai querer contratar ele. Pô, nem dá ideia, hein? Nem dá ideia que o Duílio deve estar vendo esse jogo. Aí, ó, Israel. Olhando os números, né, cara? Até o que cada um apresentou até aqui, esse jogo tá indo contra a lógica, né? O melhor mandante do campeonato, contra o pior ataque. O time que mais... bom, o Yeovil é o time que mais empatou. Então, pelo menos nesse número específico, nesse corte específico, até faz sentido. O pessoal falando, galera, que esquece que é jogo de quinta divisão. Mas uma das características, né, dos jogos da quinta divisão é também um número muito grande de gols, né? Porque os zagueiros não são tão bons, mas mesmo assim os atacantes conseguem fazer um bom estrago. Mas tá bem atípico esse jogo pro Wrexham. Tá bem atípico, porque os jogadores estão mal também. Você viu o Paul Mullin, aquele chute que ele errou ali, não é normal dele errar. Tivemos alguns lances aí de perigo. Mas o Yeovil também, né? Eu acho que a dificuldade que a gente tá tendo não devia ser tão grande igual está sendo no momento. E também, o que a gente tem a nosso favor também é o Phil Parkinson, né? Aquela conversa de intervalo. E o Mauro falando que o segundo tempo é nosso. Aí, ó, o Carlos aí, ó, que é torcedor do Notts County. Falando aí, ó, quer nem imaginar se o Wrexham ganha esse jogo. Pô. Vai ganhar. E o Mário Henrique falando que acho que o Phil Parkinson vai usar suas belas palavras, também acho. Filme se repetindo, se complicando de graça e no finalzinho da temporada, depois de fazer o mais difícil, que é ganhar do Notts County, né? Quando a gente achou que o pior já tinha passado, aí acontece isso aqui. Aí, ó, o pessoal falando também, último passo, finalizações estão ruins hoje, se corrigir isso, enfim, uns 3. Tomara que sim, né? Tomara que o Phil Parkinson use suas palavrinhas mágicas aí para conseguir uma reviravolta. Reviravolta não, né? Só uma atitude melhor para o segundo tempo. O pessoal querendo pôr o Mullin pro Vasco. Pô, o Vasco já tem o Pedro Raul, não precisa. Once graduated from UCFB, you'll have gained the relevant skills and experience to start your career in sports. Todo jogo é difícil, todos os adversários querem aparecer na segunda temporada. Também, né? Porque o Wrexham é o time a ser batido hoje. Então, o time adversário já chega já com uma postura diferente do que ele normalmente adota nos jogos. Our students have access to regular guest speaker sessions where we bring in experienced names from the world of football to help and inspire students on their pessoal falando que isso aí é tudo pro roteiro ficar bom na segunda temporada, né? Pô, às vezes parece que é isso mesmo, viu? Quando parece que tá fácil demais, talvez o pessoal sente que, não, isso aqui não vai dar muita audiência, não. É melhor a gente deixar isso aqui um pouquinho mais emocionante. Aí o resto é história. Vitória do Wrexham com mais de 1.5 gols? Ainda dá. Deixaram a gente sonhar com a vitória em cima do Notts. Pô, nossa, que vitória. O negócio é esse, né? Faz o mais difícil. Aquela vitória espetacular com aquela defesa de pênalti no fim. Todo mundo pensou, pô, o pior já passou. Agora é só fazer os pontinhos que precisa. E aí, em 2 jogos, né? Segundo jogo agora. Empate, mais um empate. Mas, cara, tem que manter o otimismo, né? Não adianta ficar chorando agora. Tá em primeiro lugar, 104 pontos. Ficar chorando agora não é possível. Vamos ser otimistas aí, vamos conseguir. Vamos sim. Aí, ó, Eduardo Batera. Mandar um salve aí para Lauro de Freitas, na Bahia. Se a galera quiser mandar aí também, de onde estão assistindo a partida, então manda um abraço aí pra galera. And of course, we have international people with us as well. If you guys would like to send a message, send from where you guys are watching the game, just send in the comments and I'll read it here and I'll give a shout out to you. Então é isso aí, galera de todo mundo aí assistindo com a gente. Maioria do pessoal do Brasil, né? Sempre, maioria esmagadora, diria que mais de 80% aí é o pessoal do Brasil. E é isso aí, ó. Bangu, no Rio de Janeiro. A gente mandou um salve também no começo da transmissão aí para vários lugares, inclusive Madrid. Teve um cara da Nova Zelândia, pessoal de Sergipe, Bahia, São Paulo. Um salve pro molequinho No Mercy da série. Não sei quem é o molequinho No Mercy, mas um salve aí. Vou mandar um salve aí pra caravana de Osasco. Igual o Faustão. É isso aí, ó. Quem mais tem? Tamandaré, Pernambuco. Portugal aí, ó. Fute Plus de Portugal. A gente tem um membro da comunidade também de Portugal. O pessoal perguntando onde faz para comprar camisa do Wrexham. Cara, na comunidade Wrexham Brasil, a gente tem um membro que vende a camisa. No nosso site, você pode também preencher um cadastro lá, um formulário, que você vai ter também informação sobre os links, né, de onde você pode comprar uma camisa no Brasil hoje. Não tem produto oficial, apenas no site oficial do Wrexham. E realmente aí com frete, com a taxa de câmbio, fica um valor um pouco salgado. Mas tem gente que gosta do original. Então a gente fornece o original também como opção e também o produto do nosso membro. Aí, ó, Praia dos Carneiros, Pernambuco. Christian Guimarães, de Lisboa, aí, ó, outro de Portugal. E gol do Milan. 1-0 pro Milan em cima do Napoli. Depois de 2 chances que o Giroud perdeu, fez um gol. Aí, o torcedor do Wrexham que faz os stories em dia de jogo. No Mercy. Não tá me vindo na cabeça agora quem é esse cara. Mas se eu ver, provavelmente vou lembrar. Tauan Lacerda de Maceió, Alagoas, onde o Paul Mullin aí chutou a bola daquela finalização. São Miguel, Rio Grande do Norte. Johnston, straight from Florida. What's up, John? Are you going to Manchester United against Wrexham in San Diego? I'm going. I have already reserved Airbnb. I have the tickets. So I'm going there. E também o Carlos aí, ó, que é o torcedor do Notts County, Taboão da Serra, São Paulo. Pô, então é uma variedade muito grande aí de localizações, né, que estão acompanhando a gente. O Vitor Rodrigues, ó, Zona Leste, São Paulo. Não sei se é Ricardo ou Rick Boto. Setúbal, Portugal, mais um de Portugal aí pra gente. Maceió, Alagoas, o Mauro. Laranjeira, eu não sei qual estado que é, mas fica um salve aí para Laranjeira. E o John Storm aí falando que não dá porque é muito longe. It's kind of far, I know, man. It's not gonna be easy for me. But I had to go, man. This is the first time I get to see Wrexham live, so I have to go, man. I had no other choice. Aí, mais um de Natal, Rio Grande do Norte. Fazer um lobby pro Mullin, pro Galão da Massa. Cara, se eu for fazer um lobby para algum time aqui, vai ser pro meu, vai ser pro Coringão. Queria muito ver o Mullin ali entre Roger Guedes e Yuri Alberto, né? Temos aí, ó, Vitor Pita de Maceió também, mais um. São Miguel. Fute Plus perguntando se eu moro na Inglaterra. Não, eu moro nos Estados Unidos. E, inclusive, aqui são 2h46 da tarde. Estou 2 horas atrás do Brasil. E, se eu não me engano, 5 horas atrás da Europa. Pelo menos no Reino Unido. No fuso horário de lá. Laranjeira é o bairro vizinho que vive a Turma da Mônica. Se ele não foi muito específico, eu acredito que deve ser esse aí, o famoso Laranjeira, bairro do nosso querido Maurício de Souza. Aí, ó, o John Storm falando que assistiu o Vasco quando ele tava na Flórida. Aí, galera, o Vasco é internacional. Vasco da Gama, aí, ó. E ainda até falou que o Mullen é melhor que o Pedro Raul. Vasco, pô, galera tá em peso aqui mesmo. Muitas pessoas aí perguntando sobre camisa. Cara, camisa, vá no site wrexham.com.br, faz um cadastro lá no nosso formulário. Quem tá me mandando mensagem aqui, depois eu vou responder, pode ficar tranquilo, porque é difícil também eu parar aqui no meio do jogo para responder a galera toda. Mas é isso. E ó, benfiquista. Pô, o benfiquista tá aqui acompanhando o Wrexham com a gente, com o Wrexham Brasil. Sensacional, hein, benfiquista? E é isso aí, galera. Dedo no like, se inscreva no canal Wrexham Brasil. Nos siga nas redes sociais também, né? Que tá aí em todos os cantos da tela aí, ó. Tem em cima, tem embaixo, tem todas as nossas redes sociais aí. Então a gente tá no Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, estamos na Twitch. Temos 2 canais do YouTube, um com conteúdo em inglês, outro com conteúdo em português. A gente tem nosso site oficial, wrexham.com.br. A gente tem nosso podcast que a gente faz giro de notícias e também um segmento especial chamado Bem-vindos ao Wrexham, que a gente fala sobre todos os episódios individualmente, sem dar spoiler. E também a gente não tá apenas no Spotify, que a gente tá na Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, no Deezer também. Então aí, ó, muita gente de Portugal, o pessoal falando aí, ó, muita gente de Portugal mesmo. O Yeovil já tá rebaixado? Ainda não, mas tá quase, viu? Tá muito quase. Pessoal de Aracaju aí, Sergipe. E é isso aí. Galera, também, outra coisa, não sei se vocês aí são adeptos dos jogos FIFA e Football Manager. Para o fim da temporada, a gente quer organizar um campeonato de Football Manager, um campeonato de FIFA, para a gente ter aí um movimento durante esse intervalo, né? As férias de verão, chamada na Europa aqui. E aí, quem quiser participar, pô, só falar com a gente, né? Entra em contato lá com a gente, segue no perfil, manda uma mensagem, entra no nosso grupo do WhatsApp, entra no nosso grupo do Telegram. E é isso. Quais são os palpites de vocês aí para essa partida? Vocês acham que vai ficar 0x0? Vai ser 1x0 no sufoco? Vai ser 3x0? Manda aí o palpite de vocês. Tô tomando um negocinho aqui, bom. E é isso, ó. O Wrexham voltou a campo. Vamos voltar à transmissão aqui em instantes. O pessoal perguntando se o Palmer tá no banco. Sim, o Palmer está no banco hoje. Sandalby está jogando junto com o Paul Mullen. Mas eu acho que se continuar dessa forma não vai durar muito, não. Olha, o Palmer deve entrar se continuar nesse 0x0 aí, sem sal. E a galera, 2x0, 2x0, 2x1. Tem gente que comentou aqui Vasco. Não sei o que isso significa, mas o Vasco ganhou de 2x1 do Atlético no último jogo, né? Então eu acho que é isso que você quer dizer. Vitor Deus falando que o Lee vai resolver. Christian de Toronto. Welcome, Christian. De Canadá, né? Toronto no Canadá. 2x0. Christian Guimarães. Halfland, 1x0. Olha, ó. Quando o Wrexham não ganha, o Benfica também se dá mal. Então ele quer que o Wrexham ganhe de qualquer jeito hoje. 2x1, o Batera aí, Eduardo Batera. 1x0. A maioria da galera aí bem otimista, né? 2x0 também. O pessoal pedindo para tirar um zagueiro e colocar o Palmer. Foi, ó, um comentário aí não tão otimista, né? 1-1 para adicionar emoção aí para o fim da National League. 1-1, nosso 1-1. E essa é uma loucura, hein? Imagina esse sábado aí, com o Wrexham apenas 2 pontos de vantagem. Notts County jogando também. Pô, é um prato cheio aí para quem curte a série, quem quer ver a série mais emocionante possível, né? Então temos aí também 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Pô, é meio a 0, 1-0 de qualquer jeito, cara. É ganhar, ganhar ou ganhar. É isso. As opções são essas. Para mim também já deu de emoção. Já não basta sofrer com o Corinthians, vou sofrer também com o Wrexham, que está em primeiro lugar com mais de 100 pontos. Não dá para pensar um cenário desse. Um time em primeiro lugar, mais de 100 pontos e você sofre ainda. Tá de sacanagem. Parece que o sofrimento persegue. Com isso, vou tirar minha cabeça aqui, vou aumentar a tela. E é isso, vamos aí, Wrexham.
If Yeovil could come and win this game against the odds tonight, even if ultimately it wasn't enough to secure their survival. The motivation for Wrexham is absolutely clear. They've got to win this game, and they've got to win on Saturday. And if they do that, they're promoted. Doesn't matter what Notts County do from here on in. But anything less than a win tonight, and the nerves will start a-jangling again. And we know that Notts County's last 2 games both look pretty comfortable. Wrexham, of course, have got playoff challenging Boreham Wood here on Saturday. And then they finish with a trip down to Torquay United, who have gone on a 5-match consecutive winning run. They are getting beaten at Chesterfield 3-0 tonight, the Gulls, but they've given themselves a chance of an unlikely escape act themselves. And if that act can still be completed on the final day of the season, then that's not an ideal opponent to be travelling 250 miles to face. Mentosa with an early throw-in for Wrexham in this second half. No changes from manager Phil Parkinson at the interval. Cantosa launch this ball into all sorts of dangerous water. Here it comes. Booz stays on his line. No chance of getting the scissor kick away there for Paul Mullin.
That was the first flat one he's thrown in. That caused all sorts of problems, that one. That just needs a glance or a flick off a defender or a striker.
Yeah, much more threat on that throw, wasn't there, Mark, from that hurled throw-in. Much more.
That one he's thrown in. That caused all sorts of problems, that one. That just needs a glance or a flick off a defender or a striker.
Yeah, much more threat on that throw, wasn't there, Mark, from that hurled throw-in. Much more.
Or a striker.
Yeah, much more threat on that throw, wasn't there, Mark, from that hurled throw-in. Much more. More threat on that throw, wasn't there, Mark, from that.
Calma aí, galera, só um momento.
Paul Mullin.
That was the first flat one he's thrown in. That caused all sorts of problems, that one. That just needs a glance.
Paul Mullin.
That was the first flat one he's thrown in. that caused all sorts of problems, that one. That just needs a glance or a flick off a defender or a striker.
Yeah, much more threat on that throw, wasn't there, Mark, from that whole throw-in. Much more.
Flat one is thrown in. That caused all sorts of problems, that one. That just needs a glance or a flick off a defender or a striker.
Yeah, much more threat on that throw, wasn't there, Mark?
Pessoal, só para dar uma notícia aí, no site oficial também tá parando também, viu? Não é nada como a internet, com o servidor aqui não. É o próprio problema na National League. Então, eu tô tentando aqui fazer de uma forma que dê certo, mas o problema é lá mesmo. Aí, ó, parece que tá normalizando agora, mas é isso aí. Você está vendo esses bugs aí?
That's the side of the Mullins game that is also very, very good. He's so unselfish.
Parece que tá indo agora. Vou só aumentar o volume aí.
Ben Tozer, flick on is by Dolby. Tidying up is Charlie Cooper. Record, who had a decent spell with Wrexham, mainly under Dean Keats, wasn't part of Phil Parkinson's longer-term plans, but certainly was a good servant to Wrexham in his time here at the racecourse. Formerly of Solihull Moors and Boreham Wood, of course, Jamie Record. It'll be a Yeovil free kick.
Not sure about that one. Didn't see him coming on the blind side, to be fair. Good pressure.
Charlie Cooper on a yellow card. Back to captain Josh Staunton. Comfortable on the ball, Staunton, and happy to run into that space. Tied it up by Tozer. Siziba, an increasingly isolated figure as the lone striker now, Mark, for Yeovil. Griffiths much more back into the midfield.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and catch Wrexham on the counter-attack. If you've noticed that they get into sort of that third of the pitch and everything's launched forward. I think the problem with that one is they don't get any players up to support, so it's going to have to be a ball over the top and a leg race between the striker and the centre-halves.
Mullin flicks on, looking for Dolby, trying to turn Record. Can he get the touch there, Sam Dolby? Appeals from the crowd for a free kick, and Wrexham get it. I guess the risk as well for Wrexham is that as they become ever more desperate to score the goal, then there will be the chance of getting caught quick break, and the pace of Siziba causing a problem, and potentially the threat of a goal against the run of play.
Absolutely, and it's vital that Ben defends that space behind his defenders. His starting positions have to be really, really good and high. You certainly don't put yourself in any problem, in any danger, but he has to start high to defend that space behind the defenders.
Free kick to Wrexham then. James Jones sprinting to the right to make himself available for Elliot Lee. Lee thinks again about that. O'Connell on the edge of the box. O'Connor forward as well. Here's Lee's delivery. O'Connell is the target, but it's a good claim from Buse, who's looked solid so far, and he kicks early.
There's Ben.
Oluwabori chase, but Ben Foster can usher this all the way out. Mark, when you first worked with Ben Foster as a youngster in that 2005 final, did you look at him then and think, this is a future international keeper?
I remember his first day. He came in and we did a training session, and I thought, wow, this guy trains like he plays. I mean, there was no holds barred. If there was a challenge to be won, he went in, and you're thinking, maybe not be doing this in training because there's a chance to get injured, but that's how he trained from day one. So obviously straight away you're thinking. And physically, he's a big lump as well.
Mullin feeds Dolby. Strong challenge from Jamie Record. Fair in the eyes of Michael Barlow. And it'll be a Wrexham throw and a chance for Tozer to arrow this one into the box.
I like the ball boys are dry and the ball's ready, so there's a quick change now. Keep the tempo going. He's walking straight onto a dry ball.
All in the detail. Here's Tozer's delivery. Hughes stays on his line, out by Staunton. Foot in by Cannon, and Ryan Barnett's going to have to go back to Ben Foster here. Miss kick from Foster, and Oluwabori is going to be able to pick this one up and have a little bit of space. Heavy touch though. Anthony Ford can come across and make the tackle. It will be a Yeovil throw in.
Could have possibly.
And Oluwabori is going to be able to pick this one up and have a little bit of space. Heavy touch though. Anthony Ford can come across and make the tackle. It will be a Yeovil throw in.
Could have possibly.
Miss kick from Foster. And Oluwabori is going to be able to pick this one up and have a little bit of space. Heavy touch though. Anthony Ford can come across and make the tackle. It will be a Yeovil throw in.
Could have possibly.
Eita. Pô, como eu falei, galera, isso aí é da National League. Tá travado nessa parte aí, ó. Eu tô abrindo até outro link aqui. E aí ela para exatamente nesse cara aí. Vamos ver se aqui agora vai. Se der, eu já coloco aqui na transmissão. Porra, aí. Mais um que parou também. Pô, tá em loop, velho. A National League tá em loop.
Back to Mullin, who stayed wide left. Lee can turn. Cannon to his right. Jones further right. Here's James Jones. Barnett. Up against Linton. Barnett's delivery. Beyond Mullin. Lee couldn't quite get there. Ford challenging. Cannon drives it. Deflects wide. And Andy Cannon having a shot from range for the second time tonight. And he's getting a bit closer.
Mullin was brilliant there. He picked the ball up wide here, played it inside, and he just drifted into the box really late, knowing that ball eventually was going to be delivered to the far post. Much better from Wrexham.
There will be a delay for a Yeovil injury. Charlie Cooper, the man down, looks like he might have a bit of cramp, much to the crowd's displeasure. But do you think Phil Parkinson will be pleased with the response from his team since half-time?
Yeah, I mean, Yeovil haven't been a threat whatsoever, so you hope eventually the pressure's going to tell, something's going to crack in the Yeovil defence. They make a mistake, they don't cover. So, yeah.
Parece agora normalizou. Bom, caralho. 57 minutos. Agora é hora de fazer o gol. Já não aguento mais essa partida de que tá.
Wrexham have had the best chances when they've built it up patiently.
The one thing we don't tend to often see from a Wrexham team is a formation change, but I just wonder if this continues, whether the 3-5-2 might go to a 4 at the back, and just to try and put a bit more width in, get Ryan Barnett advanced a bit more on the right of the midfield 4, rather than having to keep any eye on defensive duties.
We're only leaving one man up, so it makes sense. Get an extra man in midfield and maybe an extra man on the forward line.
Yeah, Palmer, in addition to Dolby and Mullin, will of course be another option, I'm sure, firmly in Phil Parkinson's mind. We've seen that a few times this season when Wrexham have had to get themselves out of a hole. Here is Lee then with this corner. Is this the moment? Deep delivery from Lee, goes beyond everyone. Tozer was challenging, but the ball goes innocuously past Ben Tozer. It'll be a Yeovil goal kick.
maybe they've identified that far post as being a weak point for them because he was isolated then. But I've got to be honest, the defender stood his ground, didn't really give him a sniff. Time wasting from the goalkeeper, clever.
Well, he might be inexperienced, but he's got that piece of goalkeeping experience, Mark, early in his book of feathers.
Absolutely. Infuriates the crowd.
But a part of the game, if you're in a team that are absorbing pressure, trying to slow the game down, goalkeepers know they've got that unique opportunity to take some seconds out and give their defence a little bit more of a breather. Wrexham have got to just keep persevering, trying to stretch this Yeovil cover, move the ball quickly. Here's James Jones. Yeovil have really struggled to get into the Wrexham half in the first quarter of an hour of the second period, but Wrexham still yet to break through. Lee's ball is picked off well by Record. Awolabori second to that, but now has the chance to break.
There's been a few of those today, a few square passes in midfield, and it's food and drink to the Yeovil defenders and midfielders. They just step in and nick the ball.
Long ball over the top that Mullin almost licked his lips at. Record got a boot on the end of it. Here goes Jamie Jones to Mullin. Mullin's got Barnett to his right. He comes back the other way looking for Ford. Anthony Ford cuts inside. It's Ford to shoot. He's done it! Anthony Ford with the breakthrough! The Irishman with his third of the season beats Will Hughes. And is that the moment that propels Wrexham to within one win of the Football League? Finally, the breakthrough on the hour. It's Wrexham 1, the Yeovil Town 0.
The space opened up in front of him. He drove into it. And to be fair, I think it looked like it took a slight deflection on the way through. But hey, who cares? Fantastic. All of a sudden, there's a completely different atmosphere in the place.
You could feel the relief surge around the racecourse. And Anthony Ford, who's had a challenging time off the field in recent weeks, responds quite brilliantly on it. Back into the side in an unfamiliar position. It's he who has found the breakthrough. It is he who's given Wrexham that foot nearer to the promised land. They've now got half an hour to hold on to the lead and potentially to build it.
Yeah, it definitely took a deflection. The bodies were flying out in the first half to block the shots, and they were being successful. The guys tried to do it again this time, and it's just nicked off him and sort of looped over the keeper, taking it further away from him.
Substitution for Yeovil being made. Change from Mark Cooper, waiting to be made on the touchline. Fourth official Graham Kearney is ready. Can't make the change yet, Cooper. Might get an opportunity now if Graham Kearney can catch referee Michael Barlow's eye. Let's have a look. No change as yet, but Yeovil know they've got to come out and play now. They can't just hang in there and try and get a late winner. They've got to score twice.
Yeah,
they will be relegated.
They won't be slowing the game down now, I don't think, and the keeper won't be walking across his box with the ball, that's for sure.
Yes, I think that dynamic will shift instantly. And this might yet be the opportunity for the change. We'll have a look on the touchline.
Got to stay switched on here now, Wrexham. I think that the only chance they're going to get Yeovil, it's going to be really difficult for them in open play. And the more they start to attack now, you think that potentially the more chances Wrexham are going to get.
Charlie Cooper with this free kick. First time Yeovil have been anywhere near Ben Foster in this second half. Cooper's delivery. Not the best clearing header from James Jones. Bentosa tries to make a better fist of it. Yeovil still have a chance with Pollock. And now Freckleton. Bit of a loose touch from Awolabori, who otherwise had a very good first hour for the visitors. But one of the things, Mark, about Wrexham this season is squad depth. And what we've seen repeatedly is if there's been a suspension or an injury or a form, someone has been able to come in of comparable quality.
Já é
Tonight,
campeão
no
da
Fadzine, no Mendy.
Vanarama e
Anthony Ford
também
comes on,
garante a
plays
vaga
out
do
of
time.
position, not only plays well, but scores a crucial goal.
That's why the squad's so important, and the depth of the squad is so important. We always say if you're going to come into the team, then you have to be making a difference. You have to be holding your own and bringing something different to the team, and that's certainly been the case so far tonight.
That's an interesting substitution from Mark Cooper because he's taken off Rio Griffiths, who is a centre forward, and he's brought on Corey Johnson, who is
Galera, vamos aproveitar aí que saiu o gol, momento de calmaria aí, ó. Se inscreve no canal aí, deixa o like no vídeo. Vai estar ajudando demais a gente. Então não esquece não, se inscreve no canal, botãozinho aí debaixo do vídeo. Rápido, fácil apertar. E ajuda a gente demais. É isso aí.
Attacking role now rather than having to fill in at left wing back.
It's difficult that for Yeovil with the chops and the changes. You lose that sort of continuity, you lose that balance. It'd be interesting to see how this works out for them now.
Well, since the Wrexham goal, Yeovil have seen more of the ball than they have for pretty much the entire of the second half. Wrexham perhaps sitting a bit deeper, as Mark was saying. Yeovil know they have to change their philosophy now for the second half. They've got to score twice, otherwise they are relegated. Everything changes very quickly in these circumstances when one team scores. Oluwabori trying to weave his way through, loses out to Cannon. A second goal quickly from Wrexham would surely kill the Yeovil spirit. Here goes Mullin. Chance for him to run at the defence. Mullin's delivery looking for Dolby. Dolby just overran. It was a good ball from Mullin in truth. Just behind Sam Dolby. Perfect height and good pace. Wrexham pick it up again through Elliot Lee. Barnett's got a bit of space wide right. Dolby, Lee going for the return. Is it going to come to Elliot Lee? He gets a touch on it.
Whoa.
Was he fouled? No, he wasn't. Mullin goes in. Can Buse get onto it? It goes over the bar in the end. Carnage in the Yeovil penalty area. Elliot Lee feeling he was felled. We'll have another look at that in a moment. And it's a Wrexham corner.
Looked to me like Lee got to the ball first. Just towed it away from him. So it's a difficult, it was really, really close. A difficult one, but I don't think he could get out of the way, to be honest, can he?
I think it'll be a harsh one to give against the defender there.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there for the challenge. And as you say, Mark, it's not that he's put himself in the way of Lee. They were just going for the ball and Lee poked it past him. Corner Wrexham. 65 gone at the racecourse. Wrexham with this crucial one-goal lead. Elliot Lee over this corner.
See the man at the far post now.
Decent header out from Staunton out to Xander Ziziba. Zimbabwean battling away, but it's going to be a Wrexham throw in front of those loyal Yeovil fans, 150 or so, who might well be witnessing their relegation to the 6th tier this evening.
Here it comes again, the old long throw.
Ventosa, who else with it? Tosa's delivery in. Staunton didn't get there with that header. Mullin working hard to try and wriggle away from Record, who's pursued him all night. Half cleared to the edge of the penalty area. O'Connell stands over it. Just can't quite get his angle.
Never quite sat down for him, to be fair. You can see what he was trying to do, but the bounce just kicked slightly too high that he just wasn't quite able to get over the top of the ball. Good play again from Mullin, though.
Just back to the squad depth point, though, Mark, because what we've seen with Wrexham this season is, if you look at the start of the season, Elliot Lee, it took him a number of weeks, really, to become a first-team regular. Jordan Davis was getting in ahead of him. Now he's become a regular in the side, and when Davis got injured in that cup tie against Farnborough back in November, there has been a similar kind of player to pick up the baton. Equally, Jordan Tunnicliffe, it took him a long time to get his opportunity at the start of the season. He's then become a regular in the side, and when he and Aaron Hayden have picked up injuries, arrival of Owen O'Connell, Tom O'Connor's ability to drop in there as well. So there's always been another option for Phil Parkinson, whereas in previous seasons, 1 or 2 injuries have been so significant for the squad and the depth just hasn't been there behind it.
I think that's so important, that the competition for places is so vital, that when these players get in, they know they have to perform week in, week out. Otherwise, there's somebody who is, going to come in and do the job for them and they won't get another sniff. So it's so important.
Luke Young missed an early match at Chesterfield, and the reaction from most supporters who were there that night was, well, that shows what happens when you take Luke Young out the side. Andy Cannon arrives, and now Luke Young can't get back in the side as the season starts to wind down. Young on the bench again tonight. Here's Record, trying to give Yeovil something to hang on to. They won't give this up. Here is Xander Ziziba. Oluwabori, back to Charlie Cooper. Wrexham now defending in numbers with their banks of red in front of the green shirts. Strong challenge comes in from O'Connell, but it's going to come out to Staunton. Malachi Linton challenging. Pollock well forward, but Ryan Barnett doing the defensive hard yards and getting it away. Good ball as well up to Mullin. Ryan Barnett doing really well there, and Dolby's got the chance to try and run onto this.
definitely committing more bodies forward now. In the attack there, Yeovil had four attackers on the front line.
No choice but to throw caution to the wind for the Glovers.
Great pressure from Dolby.
Works so hard, Sam Dolby, Mark, doesn't he? Yeah. He really does.
It makes it life difficult for the person on the ball. You never get a chance to settle. You never get a chance to pick a pass, pick people off. You just, as he's done there, as the keeper's done there, Abuser's done there, he's kicked it out of play.
Here's Cannon. He's had a lively game tonight. Ford can't quite thread it back to Cannon. Another Yeovil substitute being prepared by Mark Cooper. I think this will probably be Jordan Young, another attack-minded player on the bench for the visitors. But we will see what Mark Cooper has up his sleeve. 21 minutes away, Wrexham, from victory, 21 out of 22 home games, and to leave themselves one home win away from the promised land. Dolby to Mullin. Mullin's ball for Dolby to try and run onto. Was that last touch from a green shirt or a red one? Well, the last touch was from Miguel Freckleton, says referee Barlow. Here's the next Yeovil change.
Definitely throwing caution to the wind now. He's got to go all out for it and try and nick 2 goals from somewhere.
This is Jordan Young coming on, who was given his debut at Swindon by Mark Cooper a number of years ago, signed from Chippenham Town. And he is an attacker, a straight swap for Xander Siziba, who's run hard tonight for Yeovil for 70 minutes. And Young will see if he can try and unlock the Wrexham back line. He's going to have to do it twice if Yeovil are to prolong their life in the National League.
From the keeper's kick then, Yeovil were 4-2-4.
Well, they're going to leave spaces, aren't they? They're going to inevitably leave gaps. Can Wrexham take advantage to get a second? The Yeovil equaliser would change the whole feel of this ground after Anthony Ford gave Wrexham that breakthrough. Yeovil are not done yet. Pollock with Oluwabori to his right. Here goes Oluwabori up against Ford. Ford solid defensively, but Yeovil in Wrexham territory. Not going down without a fight by any stretch.
You need the older heads in the team now to keep everybody concentrating on the Wrexham team, to keep the discipline, massively keep the discipline.
Bentosa's long throw hurls Wrexham up towards the halfway line. Freckleton puts it out of play. No changes yet from Phil Parkinson. In conversation I saw with Steve Parkin and David Jones just a short time ago, Ollie Palmer for Sam Dolby would be perhaps a predictable like-for-like. Fresh legs to try and exploit perhaps tiring Yeovil bodies at the back and less of them as they commit more forward. Dolby to Young. Here is Barnett on the overlap. Ryan Barnett into the penalty area. Good delivery. Mullin arriving. Can he get the angle? Squared across. Lee puts his foot in. Can't get it in. Second time around. Wrexham do it. And James Jones with the goal. Maybe, just maybe, shuts the door on Yeovil Town tonight.
Yeah,
condemns them to relegation and takes Wrexham to within one win of the title.
Excellent pressure there. You know, they didn't give it up. They kept moving the ball. Great delayed pass for the timing of the run, which meant that as soon as he took his first touch, he was round the fullback. Clever ball in behind the defensive line. And, the ricochets all around. And there we are to finish it off. He always seems to score important goals, Jones.
His goal scoring really has been a feature this season. He's often come up with a goal at a crucial time, as you rightly say, Mark. And that is the 5th of them in this campaign. And the hard work of Mullin and Lee eventually rewarded. And at 2-0, Wrexham really looking good now. It took a time, but they've got there.
I think also, I don't think Wrexham can take the foot off the pedal with the goal difference that's still in play. I know it's in Wrexham's hands now, but you never know. If they're there for the taking now, then you absolutely go after them. You smell blood and you go after them.
Yeah, I'm sure that Phil Parkinson will be conscious of that. It could still yet be an issue. This win would take Wrexham 4 clear of Notts County, but more goals will certainly help. Wrexham's goal difference coming into this game was plus 68. That's now, of course, plus 70. The Notts County goal difference currently is plus 72. So another goal or two would certainly assist as we have another look at James Jones's finish here. Lead denied by Buse. Decent connection that from Jones on his left foot, drilling it home. Mullin with a chance now in space. Paul Mullin, great save from Buse, did really well. The young keeper getting down to his left when it looked like that might have been beyond him.
Very, very good save. As soon as Mullin picked the ball up, Buse, to be fair to him, backpedaled, bought himself a little bit of time. He was in a really good position to make the save, and an excellent save.
He's done well tonight, hasn't he, Will Buse? I'll be interested to see how his career progresses. Not much he really could have done with either of the goals, but has handled himself well. Here's another man who's impressed tonight for the Glovers, Oluwabori. His ball into the penalty area is shoveled away by O'Connell.
Yeah, if you look, all of a sudden they've committed a lot more bodies forward now.
Here's Charlie Cooper. Gets it back from Pollock, but a little bit short from Pollock, and a chance for Dolby to pick his pocket, and suddenly Wrexham have a lot of space with Andy Cannon and Elliot Lee to his left. Cannon's got time to pick the pass. Here comes Elliot Lee.
Had to break his stride. If the pass was a better pass, he could probably have just carried on his stride and bent it into the far corner, but he just had to slow himself down and lost his balance.
We've seen that finish from Elliot Lee so many times this season, off the right instep, but on that occasion couldn't keep it down.
Wrexham looking dangerous now every time they nick the ball in midfield due to the amount of bodies that Yeovil have got the other side of the ball.
10,106 here at the racecourse tonight. Another incredible attendance. This stadium selling out virtually every home game this season.
No, it's fabulous. I think you can't underestimate what it's like playing here, with a full house, especially when they're bouncing and they're behind you like this.
And full credit to the Yeovil fans who've made such a long journey up. I think I heard 117 have made the long schlep from Somerset on a Tuesday night, with their season hanging by the thinnest of threads. They have stayed behind their team and have seen a gutsy performance from the men in green, but one which appears to be, sadly from their perspective, not enough to preserve their status. It goes Mullin, looking to try and get his 45th of the season. Mullin's ball to goal scorer Jones, to Barnett, yet to score in red. Ryan Barnett's delivery. Mullin's header back across goal. It's 3. Paul Mullin's looping header completes the job for Wrexham. Mission completed for the Red Dragons. Bring on Borehamwood.
It's amazing because it's the only place he could have scored with the bodies in front of him. It's a fantastic header, but it's all in the cross, to be honest with you. Barnett down that side has done exceptionally well for the last 2 goals. So it's not looking great for Yeovil now, I'm afraid. Fantastic goal.
Superb technique from Mullin, very similar to the header he scored away at Maidenhead a few weeks ago. As we just have another chance to see the replay, and the ability to judge the angle and to land that in the top corner. Really an excellent technique. He can score goals with both feet and from pretty much all areas. And Paul Mullin's 45th of the season. Incredible effort from Wrexham's number 10, and thoughts can now firmly move to Saturday.
Yeah, you might look at Phil Parkinson now to make a couple of changes and get your important players a little bit of a breather.
Staunton forward, Worthington. Record available on the overlap. Yeovil continue to try and probe. Corey Johnson on at left wing back for them. Blocked by O'Connell.
they're still having a go, to be fair to them. They're still committing bodies forward and trying to move the ball, which is, testament to their effort, to be fair.
Record looking for the big diagonal for Oluwabori. Touch, though, enables Ford to get a foot in, and Elliot Lee can carry it forward for Wrexham. Well, Yeovil certainly gave this a real good go and competed for the first hour as soon as that first Wrexham goal came in, Mark. We did think that it might mean that the dynamic would shift and Wrexham would get more, and that's exactly how it's played out.
Já tá tocando a ferida aqui já. No palpite 3-0.
Emotional side of things, the position they're in, knowing that it's such a big game. And the one thing that they once you go one down, it's like, oh wow, where do we go from here now?
Andy Cannon's shift is done. Another
strong
performance in central midfield from Andy Cannon. And he'll get the chance just to rest his limbs for the last 11 minutes. Luke Young, very much a like-for-like substitution in the centre of the Wrexham midfield. And he picks up the captaincy from Bentosa to try and see if perhaps his team can add to this 3-goal advantage and further improve that goal difference ahead of the penultimate round of matches on Saturday.
It's never ending, is it? Toza's going to step up now and throw it in the box, so it's completely demoralising for the Yeovil guys.
I think if Wrexham do continue to add to these 3 goals, the scoreline will have a look to it, which doesn't do Yeovil justice from how hard they've competed, certainly for the first hour. But Wrexham are relentless, particularly in the latter stages of matches. And once the dam was breached, opportunities open. Off the head of Staunton, corner Wrexham.
Better throw again, nice flat one. The only thing that was missing was a Wrexham attacker at the ball. The Yeovil defender got underneath it. But as we said earlier, they look tired now, Yeovil.
Well, I think they know they're not going to score 4 in the last 10 minutes to keep their hopes of surviving alive. Here is Luke Young taking over dead ball responsibility, out by Staunton. Lee climbing. Last touch was from Tom O'Connor. Owen O'Connell's firm header forward. Mullin looking to turn away from Freckleton. He'll fancy the opportunity of adding to his 1 goal tonight, Paul Mullin, in the 10 minutes plus injury time that remain.
He uses his body so well there. He just blocks him off and stands his ground. And the defender, the only thing that the defender do is foul him if he wants to get to the ball.
O'Connor's throw. Flick on Mullin. Dolby looking to try and get his way past Staunton. Well, in truth, Yeovil's relegation wasn't really a consequence of tonight's defeat. They took 1 point out of 9 during Easter week, and they had Dorking, Aldershot and Gateshead, all teams around them. And that's really where the wheels came off for the Glovers. But it has been a struggle for them for many weeks, and they will have to rebuild in the National League South next year. Toza's throw in, looking for Dolby, who gets a flick on. Yeovil managed to get it out. It's going to come out to Barnett, urged to shoot by the home fans. Hughes coming for the cross, not convincingly on this occasion. It's going to come to Toza. Nice work from Toza, might go for goal himself. Ben Toza, what an effort that was, and what a very good save it was by Will Hughes, because that was destined for the top corner.
As a Yeovil manager, you wouldn't mind your goalkeeper coming there, and because the guy's got a free header. I think it was Dolby at the post got a free header. And to be fair, the second save, you're not expecting him to go on that angle at that top near post, and he's done very, very well to keep that out.
Luke Young over this corner. Elliot Lee short if he wants him. Young's delivery. Toza again with an opportunity, blocked by Record. Barnett picks up.
That's the first time Wrexham have got a man across that near post. They just get a glance on it.
Forward by O'Connell. Paul Mullin was onside there, but it's another Wrexham corner. And Yeovil look bedraggled now.
I'm wondering whether he kicked that out for a corner on purpose because he prefers the corners than the throw-ins.
Well, that's actually probably not a bad thought. Here's Luke Young. Wrexham take it quickly. Young powers it across. Young at the second attempt. Can't do a Mullin.
I think Yeovil now are praying for that final whistle. they can't get out of their final third.
Here's Freckleton. 7 minutes left at the racecourse. Wrexham 3, Yeovil 0. Wrexham heading for 107 points. Incredible that there's any doubt that 107 points hasn't won you the league, but that's where Wrexham will be tonight. But they know they almost certainly need 110 with what Notts County have left in terms of opposition. Notts County on 103. If they win those 2 games, will go to 109.
Isso aqui foi loucura,
So
viu?
Wrexham need 110 to be sure, which equates to a victory here against Boreham Wood at 6:30 on Saturday. Here's Charlie Cooper. Miguel Freckleton. Back to Charlie Cooper. Oluwabori fancies a run at Anthony Ford. Good cross from Oluwabori. Turned away nicely by Ryan Barnett. Yeovil, I'm sure, would love a consolation goal to try and give their supporters something to go home with as they head for a long night on the motorways. Forward by Ryan Barnett. Picked out by Staunton. Record to Worthington. And now Freckleton on halfway. As we turn our thoughts, Mark, towards Saturday and Boreham Wood, obviously you're heavily involved in coaching and the mental side of the game with your work at Liverpool. How would you go about settling down the Wrexham players in the run-up to this? Because it almost feels on Saturday a bit like a kind of playoff final. It isn't quite such a precipice as that. But Wrexham have it in their hands. They're going to have 9,500 at least of a 10,000 gate behind them. The issue is avoiding freeze and people getting too concerned about the occasion and not being able to just play the game rather than the enormity of what they might achieve at the end of it.
I think it's so important that you just keep the same preparation. Exactly the same.
Sam Dolby scampering through the middle, cut out, and Staunton can turn it back to booze.
Yeah, whatever they do in the sort of 3 or 4 days now leading into that game, that they shouldn't have done any different for the whole season, because all of a sudden it just brings them more pressure on. So whatever their preparation is, continue to do the same.
Pollock to Staunton. How important will the senior voices be around? I mean, there's a lot of experienced players here. Tozer, Mullin. Young players that have been around, been there, done it.
Huge. Absolutely huge. As I say, the younger lads, they'll be thinking about it. The older pros in there, the Ben Fosters of the world, they've experienced, a lot, and they'll bring that experience into play. It's calming people down. It's recognizing when someone is getting a little bit stressed in the dressing room or in training, and maybe make a little bit of lightheartedness of it. And it's you've got to keep smiling through it as well. But there comes a point when you absolutely switch on and the serious stuff starts.
Well, it's going to be a big build-up to Saturday. I'm sure there'll be Wrexham fans starting their countdown clocks as soon as full-time whistle goes here in preparation for the biggest game that the club has had in many a year. Bromley, of course, in the FA Trophy final last year was an opportunity, a great day out, but in truth, losing the match was manageable from an impact on the club perspective. This is a very different kettle of fish, a very different scenario, as Paul Mullin is arrested by Phil Parkinson for the last 3 minutes plus injury time. Ollie Palmer will get a belated run out. Another great shift from Paul Mullin.
Yeah, sensible substitution. Don't take any risk whatsoever. But I'd love to know his stats in terms of GPS, the distance he covers, because the strikers generally,
pessoal do It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You're not covering that big a distance. You're saving all the ball appears in the 18-yard box. But I'd love to know, what sort of distance he covers. His high speed.
Ele saiu aplaudido, né? Não jogou bem no primeiro tempo, mas a contribuição dele nessa temporada é imensa, né? E hoje fez um gol também, né? O segundo tempo dele foi bom.
Back with interest from Tom O'Connor. Solid again, dropping in at left centre back. Here's Ollie Palmer. Wouldn't he just love a late goal to lift his confidence ahead of Boreham Wood? Here's Young trying one from distance, and Ben Foster was off his line and he had to make the save. Really, really good vision from Young, who saw the opportunity And Ben Foster, almost embarrassed from range, does enough to concede the corner.
I think as soon as he saw the loose pass in midfield, Ben's on his bike getting out of there because he's high, because obviously Wrexham are in possession. As soon as he picks the ball up here, Ben's getting back. Gives himself a chance.
Corner comes in and Wrexham managed to deal with it. O'Connor gets it half clear as James Jones is confirmed over the PA system as Wrexham's player of the match. Cooper lifts it forward as Yeovil continue to pursue a goal to end on a high. Here's Elliot Lee. Nice ball from O'Connor right into his feet. Dolby and Palmer both available. He picks Palmer. Space for Ollie Palmer to have a run at Jamie Record. Palmer with a drop of the shoulder. Record is strong. And Palmer can't find a way through. And in the end, he loses out and has to be content with forcing a goal kick.
I think Ben used all his experience there. He saw the danger very, very early and out of there. Obviously, Hughes has done really well for Yeovil. You know, he can certainly walk off the pitch here with his head held high. There's no fault for any of the goals. He's probably made 4 or 5 excellent saves for Yeovil.
Last minute then, here at the racecourse. Those who've been here tonight saw a nervous wait for an opening goal, but Wrexham then clicking into gear once Anthony Ford had relieved the pressure on the hour. And Wrexham another step closer. Yeovil heading for the National League South, the 3rd team to be automatically confirmed as relegated this season following Scunthorpe and Maidstone. They'll join Maidstone in National League South. Scunthorpe will head to National League North, and we'll wait to see who the 4th team is who join them. Could be Torquay, Yeovil's near neighbours in the West Country. Could be Aldershot, potentially York, potentially Maidstone. But Yeovil will certainly needing to restart in the National League South next season. The takeover currently playing out in the background at Hewish Park and not yet completed. Here it goes, Freckleton. Cooper's delivery right in the face of Elliot Lee, who springs back to his feet.
That's what you have to do. You stop the cross at all costs, get your body in the way.
Elliot Lee doing exactly that. 4 minutes of added time on the watch of Michael Barlow, who has had a good game tonight, I think. Let it go, hasn't he, without interfering too much. Probably not the most difficult game to referee he'll ever have, but decent game, I think.
I always think the referees have a good game when you don't see them.
A couple of yellow cards from Michael Barlow in the first half, but aside from that, a match of relatively little controversy. Certainly a far cry from Wrexham's trip to Barnet on Saturday. Jamie Record then, as the clock runs down, 3 minutes or so to play out on another positive evening in North Wales. Wrexham making it 21 wins from 22 home games, a quite astonishing record. Only Woking coming here and getting anything. And every Wrexham fan will be hoping Boreham Wood don't add to that. Chance for Yeovil laid on. Great save from Foster. Malachi Linton going close, and Ben Foster denying the Yeovil striker. And Ben Foster, well, he hasn't had a huge amount to do tonight, but twice in the last few minutes, he's been bang on his game.
That's a fabulous save from that close range. His positioning again was nice and high, but that's a real reflex, strong hand to get it round the corner as well, out the danger zone.
Cooper to Worthington. Corey Johnson. Plenty of green shirts forward as Yeovil do try and pursue a late goal, but Wrexham will be keen just to preserve the goal difference now and play to the whistle with 3 goals banked.
Yeah, to be fair to Yeovil, since the 3rd goal's gone in, I know probably Wrexham have stepped off the pace a little bit with Saturday in mind, but they've tried to pass again. They've got bodies on the front line. They've probably had the 2 best chances since the 3rd goal went in. But I think Wrexham have got one eye on the weekend now.
Goal difference of 71 against Notts County's of 72 could still yet be an important factor if Wrexham can't beat Boreham Wood on Saturday. But as we've said, a win on Saturday and no goal difference comes into the equation. Corner to Yeovil right at the end.
It's been incredible. I certainly can't remember. It's been fantastic for the National League, having Notts County and Wrexham go toe to toe from day one. I mean, the exposure it's given the National League, so it's given Notts County and it's given Wrexham. Not that Wrexham need much more at the moment, but it's been phenomenal.
Good work from Jordan Young. Header out from Tom O'Connor when it looked for a moment that Yeovil might have a chance to score a consolation. Now Ollie Palmer on the break. Can he get away? Almost. Just ran out of room. Done well, Jamie Record tonight at left back for Yeovil. Really put in a wholehearted performance against one of his former clubs. But Wrexham chairman.
E aí, esse é o pessoal aí do Leeds Always em Filadélfia. Não sei que vocês assistiram.
Another win.
Tem o Matt, o Rob McElhenney, Charlie, que é esse cara aí de capuz vermelho, o Dennis, sentado ali, e a Dee, e a esposa do Rob McElhenney também.
No, it's the whole pace of the game has gone now, and it's almost walking football.
Worthington back to Record. Forward by Staunton, but that is it. Wrexham victorious by 3.
Então é isso aí, galera. Fim de partida. 3-0. Quem diria, hein? Não tava do jeito que o primeiro tempo tava rolando, né? Não parecia que seria 3-0, né? Mas é isso aí, ó. O homem aí, o Rob McElhenney, tava falando aí que são os integrantes do Leeds Always Sunny em Filadélfia. E é isso. E algumas pessoas estão perguntando se ganhar já é campeão. Cara, eu vou compartilhar aqui a tabela com vocês. A gente dá uma olhada nisso junto. Olha, o Wrexham agora está com 107 pontos. E o Notts está com 103. O máximo de pontos que o Notts chega é 109 pontos. Né? Eles têm 2 partidas faltando. Então eles chegam a 109, ganhando as próximas 2 deles. Mas se o Wrexham ganhar a próxima, ele vai para 110. E o Notts não consegue mais alcançar a gente. Então, ganhando a próxima partida, o Wrexham está matematicamente garantido na League 2 e também é o campeão da Vanarama National League. Então, a lot of people saying thanks. Deixa eu só dar um adeus aí para a galera gringa aí que tá saindo. Guys, thank you so much for watching the game with us. See you guys on next Saturday. I think Katie Roberts here with us and everyone else that's on the group. Thank you so much for your presence. Thanks so much for your messages. And see you on Saturday and up the Shagging Town. E é isso, ó. O próximo jogo é contra o Boreham Wood. Esse aqui tá em 6º lugar. Vocês podem ver aqui, ó. É a melhor defesa da National League, o Boreham Wood. Não vai ser um jogo fácil. Mas 1-0, a gente é campeão, tá na League 2 e objetivo cumprido. Não tem que ficar esperando jogar bem nesse jogo, não. Tem que ganhar, cara. Temos 2 jogos pela frente. Um deles a gente tem que ganhar. A gente ganha um, campeão. É isso. Então, para finalizar, queria agradecer a presença de todos. Se você ainda não se inscreveu no canal, se inscreve aí. E siga a gente também em todas as redes sociais, cara. A gente está no Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, a gente está na Twitch, temos 2 canais no YouTube com conteúdo em inglês e outro em português, e também temos nosso site oficial, wrexham.com.br, com notícias em português diariamente. Então é isso, galera. Segundo tempo bem melhor aí do Wrexham, depois de um primeiro tempo aí sofrível, mas importante é que a vitória veio, mais 3 pontos, 3-0, clean sheet, sem tomar gol. Bom demais, hein? E até no saldo de gols aqui, ó, a gente está muito próximo também do Notts County, né? Espero que a gente não precise de saldo de gols. Até porque se a gente ganhar matematicamente o número de pontos, já estamos né, na League 2. E é isso. Muito obrigado a todos. E valeu! Eu também vou acompanhar agora a Champions League. Perdeu o pênalti o Napoli. Caralho. Falou, galera. Até mais.